Okay, welcome to episode 2. We're talking Nashville Thor, the Family of Oz, and Fungus. Are you guys ready for this?
I'm ready.
Let's go for it.
Okay. A little ASMR here.
Welcome to the William Black Show, where we bring you intriguing stories and insights that are not covered openly. These are unfiltered, of course, because we believe in talking about things openly and honestly, even if it's not popular. You can check out all our other content at thewilliamblackshow.com, YouTube, Instagram, and X. Now, let's get into the episode.
I'd definitely buy her. I'd have to blindfold myself. I have never met her. We'll see what she's like in person later. That might be a trash baggie. All right. So, as we alluded to, we'll be doing a couple interesting things in episode 2. We've got a special guest. Of course, I'm your host, Will. We've got Chris on mic 3. And Danny, I'm going to let you introduce yourself. I guess I could, but it'd be a little, bland. So I think I just hit the top points. So I'm going to leave it up to you and let you introduce yourself.
Absolutely.
So, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. My name's Danny Hennessy. I am the Midwest Regional Sales Manager for Crowned Heads and Oz Family Cigars. We're a boutique cigar brand based out of Nashville, Tennessee. We've been around since 2013 with the Oz family side coming in 2022. And we've got some fantastic cigars, including a couple that we brought with us here to enjoy during the show.
Excellent. Yeah. So when did you start?
So I joined the company December 1st of 2023.
Okay, 23, so a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. Where were you before that?
Yep, so before that, I was down in Nashville, Tennessee. I was with Casa de Montecristo at their Nashville store, right near downtown Nashville.
Well, that had to be fun.
Oh, yeah, it was a great time, incredible crowd of people, one of the best teams I've ever gotten to work with, and some very... got to see some interesting things over the years. Some good, interesting, some interesting.
Well, if your time in Nashville is anything like Chris and I in Vegas for what, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, something like that, I can't even.
Per occurrence.
Yeah, my liver would probably be bruised and crawling out some orifice in my body.
Hey, there's a reason I drink coffee now.
Well, that's awesome. Okay, so we've got a couple cigars here. We'll start off with this guy here. For those in the know, or for those that aren't in the know, Crowned Heads makes some very nice cigars. I've always enjoyed John's blends. Mm-hmm. Hits them out of the park. This guy here is the Mil Diaz Maduro. Mm-hmm. Probably one of my top 10 right now in the humidor for myself. And it's probably in the top 10 as far as sales go for, for Blue Label. So that's a nice cigar. Mm-hmm. I know a little bit about it. Why don't you round this guy out for us?
Absolutely. So the Mil Diaz Maduro is wrapped with a beautiful USA Connecticut broadleaf Maduro wrapper. That binder is going to be Ecuadorian Habano, and then all the fillers are going to be Nicaraguan. Really rich in flavor. Lots of body, so a really nice thick smoke output. Strength-wise, medium to medium plus, in my opinion.
Okay.
This one came out about a year ago now, and it's been killing it. I love this cigar. The size we're going to be smoking today is the Topaz size, which is a traditional Cuban size. The largest ring gauge in this line, but to me, it just smokes beautifully.
Is that a 60 or... No, it's a 58.
56.
56. Well, I also tell my wife that that's 6 inches, so... Thank God she's not a carpenter.
And that one is made down at Taconixa in Esteli under the watchful eye of Aradio Pichardo.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Sounds good. I didn't realize that was a U.S. broadleaf, Connecticut broadleaf. I knew it was a Connecticut broadleaf, but I didn't know that was an American. Cool. Excellent. Well, here, I borrow your cutter, sir?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I came unprepared. Woo! Ooh, here we go. Little nip the tip. Should we do it this way? Let's see if I can. This is going to make a mess. I know it. Plus, I can't see up close anymore. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Oh, look at that. It worked. Sort of. Straight enough for government work. Maybe not anymore, but let's see. So there's a cold draw. So we'll get into some other things while we're smoking today, but nice draw. Lots of raisin, fig. Leather. What else? That pretty much rounds out. I can get about 3, maybe 4 more tastes out of it, and yeah, that's about it. A lot of raisin, a lot of leather on the back end. Raisin on the front, leather on the back. It's an awesome smoke. So, all right. So your time in Nashville was probably spent selling cigars and cigars accessories.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I went down there originally in 2014 to study music business at Belmont University. And then after I graduated, through a series of very strange events, I ended up working with Casa de Montecristo and got to work in a beautiful humidor. Got to work with an incredible bar and see that store almost triple in size over about 5 years. So it was a blast, man.
Yeah. So what was your favorite night out? Was it a Thursday? Was it a Saturday? I mean, you were working retail, right? So
yeah.
When did the shop close?
So
at nighttime.
So during the week it would close at 11 o'clock, and then on weekends midnight.
All right, so still plenty of time in the evening to.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. No, there were. If I had to choose a night of the week, I was always a fan of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, because Nashville is insane on the weekends.
Now, is that all people that are in Tennessee that just kind of come in? Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, like everybody just yeah, it's like just a weekend drive-in?
It is. So Nashville, I want to say in like 2022 became the tourism capital of America. So the #1 travel destination in the country.
It beat out Wisconsin Dells?
It beat out Wisconsin Dells.
Tommy Bartlett is still frozen. He's frozen. They froze that. I mean, I probably shouldn't say that anymore. Well, wait a minute. No, the free speech uncensored thing was just signed the other day. So we can go back to, what did that say? I won't get into it. All right, so go ahead. So it beat out Wisconsin Dells.
Oh, yeah.
That's impressive.
Things got insane. So weeknights were fantastic because I got to enjoy all the fun of Nashville without as big of crowds. But the areas I typically went to weren't the most crowded areas.
You're off strip.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was not typically hanging out on Broadway, Midtown on occasion, unless I had a specific reason to go down there. I was kind of more on the outskirts. Oh, yeah, and the places that I won't mention because I don't want to ruin them for the locals there.
No. We don't need to get into the dirtbaggy stories. But, well, all right, so that's cool. You obviously had a little backtrack into where to drink, who you were drinking with. I remember a couple stories you'd told me about having a VIP booth and all sorts of good stuff. So that's, for those of you that have never really partied or lived your life around a never-ending party, I got to tell you, when you walk in and everybody knows your name, like Cheers, I don't know, it's probably too old for that, but the show's a little too old. But you walk in and everyone goes, "Hey!" And it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. It kind of lets you know that you've got a family away from a family type thing. I mean, you wouldn't trust these people with your keys or let them in your apartment while you're not there. But
I don't think I'd trust them with a napkin. But
some of my family I don't trust anyway, so it kind of fits. Trust them with a napkin. Okay, so that's the Danny Hennessy. That's the long and short of it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, we talked about the Mil Diaz Maduro, right? So what was the other thing? So the main topic that we're going to get into is, I remember. So what's a Nashville 4, and how does it relate to Milwaukee?
A Nashville 4 is what you're looking at. That's
It's only a 1 out of 10.
It's a 4 out of 10 pretty much. And then look, when you
I don't know. I don't date anything other than a 5, and I don't know. So I'd bump you up to a 5 because I think I'd hump you one night.
That's a night of malort. No.
If I was a girl, I'd hump you.
But I always say, man, I'm a Nashville 4, but I'm pretty close to a Milwaukee 10.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dating apps up there, they get fun when you look like me, so it works out.
Yeah, so I went to school in Milwaukee for a little while, and I have to agree with you. There's 2 sides to that gene pool. Yeah, it's I love Milwaukee. I still do. It's a very nice town.
Oh yeah.
There was a big, huge art collective down on the river that was just starting when I was exiting. You had the big art school down there, MIAD, and then you had MSOE right downtown, the engineering school, and then of course you had Milwaukee, and UWM Milwaukee. Those dorms were absolutely crazy. I can't remember what any of the towers were called, but the big towers, we had a suite, and it was 1 room, 1 double, 2 doubles, 3 doubles. So it's 3 doubles, a single, and our own bathroom. So if you got to know your suite mates pretty well. There was still that area where you can close the door and it was just you and your roommate. So there was an outer door, then each room had an inner door. Thank God. Thank God. This whole group shower thing at the end of the hall, I can't tell you how many times. Yeah, I switched dorms after that. That was it was eye-opening. It was eye-opening.
I lived in one community dorm in college, and my dream after that, I just aimed to never share a bathroom whenever I could.
As long as you knew the people in the bathroom who were using it, you kind of knew what you were in for. But once you got into the whole hall, like that whole floor using that bathroom, you walked in the morning, especially on a Sunday. Like I found some kid ODing in the shower. Like he's literally laying there in the shower, needle in his arm, the whole 9 yards, and he's having a blast. I mean, he's still awake, but he's just so out of it. He's like, I'm like, you need help.
Yeah, no,
I'm out of here.
We were a freshman hall, over 100 years old for the building, and it's amazing how many urinals one building of all guys can go through in a year. It was absurd. I felt so bad for that custodial crew.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't gotten smarter about it and just put a steam closet in. Right? So if there's a closet inside the thing and it's got its own little steam generator, right? And a bleach injector. You go in there with a power washer and everything's built to be power washed. But you're not power washing with water, you're power washing with hot steam and bleach. Right? I mean, pretty simple. Well, big, huge trench drains.
They got those bathrooms in Japan at the airport.
Exactly. Yeah, you close the door and it automatically fills itself up and little jets comes down, and rotates around. It's beautiful.
Someone definitely would have ended up in the hospital. We would have found a way to prank someone with that. That would not have gone well.
And a steam gun is that is definitely not something you screw around with. That'll strip your flesh right from your bones.
Oh man!
But all right, so the cigar is great. The cigar is really great. For those of you that have not tried it yet, I would put this on your list. This is, that's a hitter.
Oh yeah.
That's a hitter. Okay, so the main focus of the podcast is going to be on fungus. Well, an aspect of fungus, or maybe a fungus. So it has to do with cigar lounge etiquette. So I thought it'd be a good segue instead of you and I just sitting here bitching. We'd bring Danny in, who's actually run a lounge, run a store, and see what his take is. See if these 7 points that Blue Label put together, and they're pretty poignant. I mean, you could probably make it to 20, just because every day of the week there's some peckerwood that comes in and decides that he's going to break the mold. Reminds you why you don't want to be working retail, but that's okay. So, Chris, let's go. You want to go through the list?
Sure.
All right, let's tack them. What do we got? Number 1.
Do not squeeze the cigars.
Ah, so it's a humidor thing. Well, which kind of goes to the lounge thing, right? So the etiquette of squeezing a cigar.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you squeeze the cigar, Danny?
I always had a couple of reasons. One, just the sanitary side of it is real rough. No one wants to smoke a cigar that's just been handled up and down with someone else's hands. That's just nasty. Two,
Considering that most people don't wash their hands when they leave a bathroom.
but two, a lot of times when people are squeezing cigars, I mean, they're putting so much pressure on those. I can't tell you how many times I watched wrappers crack.
Oh, definitely.
My whole thing was always, if you trust a retailer, you trust that their humidor is safe. If you're going there regularly, you should trust the humidor. You don't need to feel up every cigar.
Definitely not. You don't have to go through 2 or 3 of them, crack 2 or 3, and then pick up the 4th one. So there is this thing about a cigar could be rolled firm because it's getting it will be smoked and it will warm up and it will flex. So somebody feels it and they're like, "Oh, that's hard." And for some reason, if they just feel it with the pads of their fingers, right? So just the whole pad, and they kind of give it a soft push, right? Kind of like a banana.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right? Like you don't want to bruise the banana. You just want to give it a little light squeeze. Yeah, it's great. It's done. Humidification in the humidor is fine. You've looked around, you see some nice expensive things. The room is clean. There's no dust. It doesn't stink. The cigar will open up as it smokes because of the heat and the oils that are being generated back all the way through the cigar while smoking. But the wrappers are typically thin, right?
Oh, yeah. Look, these are, you have to remember these are leaves.
Mm-hmm.
And their leaves have been fermented over time. So, you'll have thicker wrapper leaves like Connecticut broadleaf.
Yeah, this one's tough, but it's not tap it on the edge of an ashtray tough. You'll still crack it.
Yeah. But, like a lot of Connecticut shade is going to be really thin. So if you're squeezing that, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've just watched a wrapper go pop.
Splits right down the side and it's over with. The retailer takes that cigar and throws it in the garbage. They can't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I mean, some guys have tried gluing them back together with the, with the cellulose glue with the, what is that? It's just
the
sugar
glue.
water. Yeah, sugar water basically. It doesn't hold. As soon as the cigar starts to heat up again, pop. I mean, there's only so many times you can take that as a retailer and before you want to smack somebody.
Yeah. My whole thing is with any time you're going and you're purchasing something from anywhere, whether it's, you're buying a shirt from a store, a cigar from a humidor, anywhere, I'm a firm believer in do your research before you go somewhere.
You kind of have to know what you're getting, right?
Yeah.
Or or if you're not, right? You just go, nice color, nice veining. It's got a great little band on it, cool graphic. What the fuck?
Well,
and charge down the rabbit hole.
If I'm buying something from someone, I will have already done my research, and so I know that's a retailer and a humidor I can trust. So if I can trust them, then I should know, hey, this cigar is going to be in good shape. If you walk into a humidor, after you've done it enough, you can kind of figure out just by walking in and how that air feels, okay, yeah, I'm going to be good here.
I mean, you can only do so much in a humidor. Temperature, humidity, changing out the air or filtering the air inside there so it's not I should say filtering the air, but keeping the air moving, right? Because high humidity will get things to settle. That humidity will settle and make little pockets and sogginess and produce off flavors and smells and things like that. But if it's in there and it's clean and it's moving around and you can feel it and it just feels like you're walking into a bathhouse almost. It shouldn't be that high, but, you definitely feel the humidity difference, especially in wintertime. You walk in there, that's it. You should know that everything's pretty much taken. And most of the time, guys have got a hygrometer on the wall. The shop will have a hygrometer. So if you ask, like, hey, what do you guys keep your humidor at? And the guy says, oh, it's over there on the wall. Or, Habib comes by and goes, don't know. Okay, maybe I'm not going to buy a $20 stick here.
Yeah, it's... in 99.9% of retailers' humidors, you buy the cigar from them, it's going to be great to smoke.
Should be.
Just, it's one of those things, just...
I don't know.
Try it out.
Chris, you and Drew have been into a couple humidors, though, where they were soggy. Like the cigars, you could almost grab it and squeeze it and have a drop of water come out. It was pretty horrible. But
it happens from time to time, but it's extremely rare.
It is. It is. Like, I agree with you. 90%, you should have no problem, especially in an area that's turning over cigars. You know, the inventory's moving. They're watching it. They're restocking it. They'll notice. So, yeah, you don't want to crack them. It's money. You're pissing off the retailer. It's just wrong. Yeah. It's just wrong. Anything else?
Well,
what do you got?
grabbing 3 or 4 cigars and, pushing on them, and, then you want to, well, that brings us into our next one. I think we can segue into the next portion of this. What do you think?
Yeah, go for it.
It is almost identical in contact here. Keep your nose off of the product.
I was going to touch on that while we were talking. I'm like, you know what? I'll leave it alone because I think it's on the list.
I almost mentioned that when I was going. That's nasty.
It's so wrong. It's so wrong.
Gross.
Like, even the guys come in and they'll take something that's wrapped in cello, right? It's wrapped in cello for a reason, to keep people's fingers off the cigar. It's acting as a barrier. It's also protecting the wrapper, right? You can't smell anything through the plastic.
Yeah.
Like, give it a rest. Like, I love guys who are like, oh, that smells great. Oh, yeah. And why do I want your nose, your boogers, your saliva, and your humid breath? Like, I'm going to put my breath on your cigar. No. Especially because, well, some cigars are not wrapped in cello. That's kind of like the ones where you just want to be like, hey, you look at it, you look at the box, you look around, you pick it up. Looks great, I'm going to buy it. But you've already pretty much made that decision before you pick it up. What do you think?
To me, it goes right back into trust your retailer. Again, if you're going to a humidor and you trust that retailer, if you have a question about a cigar, ask the person working that humidor. That's, again, it's being considerate for the next person, where, just like if I'm showing a cigar to someone in a humidor, typically, if it doesn't have cellophane, I'm picking it up by the band. Yeah,
you want to get your fingers towards the paper that's on there and not the tobacco. You're also putting oil. Some people are having a little more oily skin where they have got those sweaty palms.
But that's, putting it right gross. Up, even if you're someone who's like, I don't care about germs. If you're putting it right up here, you're just covering it with germs. Like, you could sneeze at the wrong time, but it's...
Or you could have a little dribble on the end of your nose, or you could have licked your lips, and while you're doing this, like,
it's just gross to me.
Yeah. I've seen guys lick the cigar while they're in the humidor, and they just, they taste it. They put it in their mouth and go, oh, yeah. And the guy was just about to put it back in the thing. And I'm like, hello, you're picking that up. Put it in the tray. It's yours.
Yeah.
Oh, why? What? So you put it in your mouth. This is why COVID spread like wildfire.
And if we can just, talking about sticking in your mouth, then you want to use a public cutter.
Oh, no. Yeah. No, absolutely not. Cigar is put... No, you're not putting that in a public cutter.
No.
I have this thing about using public cutters. Like, there's a lounge cutter. I'm not prepared. I'd almost go outside and just bite it, go old school, or pull my pocket knife out, or try and take my fingernail and work the cap off. Because I just...
You got a cutter here and a cutter here. You're good to go.
Yeah. Ugh. Anything else about that? No? All right, let's hit the next one. What do we got? Yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be explaining this stuff. But it is the most searched cigar topic in most of the cigar blogs. It is the most searched topic because people are going to a lounge. This is also the new generations coming in. Their parents don't do this. There's been like a whole generational gap where I think most of these kids have never learned from their parents a lot of these things. Their parents aren't pipe smokers or cigar smokers or anything like that. So they're just getting into it, and they're completely blind. And where do you go for your information now? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Google. All right. What's our number 3?
Do not pillage a box for one cigar.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just wrong. Because when you're digging into the box, I mean, there's a reason why manufacturers flip that cigar cello. So that cello tab sits up. So it's backwards. So you can grab a hold of it. Like it would be like this. In the box, it'll be right side up, but the cello's sticking up, right? So that way you can pick it up out of the box and you're not digging your fingernails past everything. You're like, come on, get out of there. Your fingernails grab a hold of this, and then they go 3 or 4 in and shove everything back in, and they're not watching. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I think this one is a mix. I think this one a lot of times tends to lean more towards education from the retailer. So one part of it to me is how you're merchandising. Organization in a humidor is something that we were obsessed with. Cigars being soldiered, and then always making sure that the open spot in the box where a cigar's been taken out is on the right.
So all the cigars are pushed to the left.
Yep.
So you can just come right in as a right-handed person,
come in,
grab them.
Yep. And for that, a great way to do things is either one, which with a brand new box is difficult, but having just one open space that there's a logical place to just boom, reach out and grab it. Or if it's a completely full box, just taking a second to flip that tab up so that it's visible. Because that's something that a lot of people miss when they're looking at a box, is because it's been in that box for anywhere from a couple of weeks to months, or if it's a box that's been sitting in a humidor for a while, years.
Could be there, years.
That tab's going to be pressed down.
And it's going to stay there. You're going to miss it. You're going to start digging at the cigar.
So that's why I was always a really big fan of grabbing the cigar out and handing it to someone. One, the second that cigar's in their hands, the odds of them purchasing it much higher. 2, that just helps it helps alleviate that issue, and then it adds a level of service. And as people see it more and more, then they know, hey, let me look for that in the box.
Yeah, there is a bit of education that comes to the consumer through the retailer. But kill the retailer, and you'll find that out yourself as you dig through the box and injure a couple wrappers after that box you just ordered online. So
yeah, and it was something, that's why.
And most of the time they don't even figure it out that they did it. And they blame it on the cigars. Oh, these are shit. Yeah, right.
But yeah, I think that one oftentimes, I think that's one of those ones that's very easily mitigated just with service.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of my take on that one personally.
Okay. Chris, where are we at?
Stop complaining to your retailer.
Okay.
That's number 4.
That's number 4. Stop complaining to your retail. Now, what did it say there? Because I can take this a bunch of different directions, but we'll see what Danny has to say. But
modern-day consumers, we have the convenience of purchasing cigars from various outlets in different ways. However, suppose you're supporting a local brick-and-mortar shop or any store in general. In that case, it's essential to consider the different pricing that a shop owner may have to employ versus the online competition.
got it. All right. So complaining about price, saying I can get these cheaper online. You can get almost anything cheaper online outside of prostitutes. I think they're about the same price, aren't they?
I don't know. I just use Tinder.
Tinder's free. Oh. I know the humidor at Blue Label because I'm there quite a bit, right? So I know that get all the time because they'll compare an online price or a bulk price to the shop and not understand the intricacies of brick and mortar. I mean, it's pretty simple. You've got the brick and the mortar to pay for. How do you keep it warm? How do you keep it cool? How do you keep it humidified? The retailer just opens up his pocket and just keeps shilling out money. Every hour, there's a $100 bill going out of their pocket. I'm pretty close.
Yeah, I think, with this one, that was one of those questions I always, it was something that I had to consciously stop myself from being like, well, why the hell am I hearing this again? And, it's figuring out a way to communicate the fact that for a lot of states, when you purchase online, you don't have to pay that state tobacco tax.
Correct.
Which is becoming less and less. And so that's one of those things that people don't realize.
Right.
But the
there
other
is
part,
there is an added tax outside of sales tax that most states have, a tobacco tax.
yeah. And, so one of those is, that's one of those things I always tried to just communicate with someone whenever that question would come up. Like, hey, I can get this for, 40% less. Well, part of that is the tobacco tax,
Sure.
which is something that, as a brick and mortar retailer, you have to deal with. It's either that or you lose the ability to do it.
And there's pricing.
Mhm.
There's bulk pricing where the big online shops, remember they're selling cigars all over the country, whereas your brick and mortar, your local shop, is only selling to maybe a county, maybe two. So there's that. So the
Yeah.
pricing offsets, for their wholesale price and things. So that's there too. But
Yeah. And then the other part to me is, that's, I'll never forget. So in Nashville, before I started working at the lounge, I worked at a hotel for a short time. And during training,
they didn't like you, the guests didn't like you creeping in the room at night. with the
I
key?
was just trying to make sure that all the blinds were properly closed. But no, but during training,
That's made its way around the internet, by the way.
but during training, the general manager said something that really stuck with me.
Okay.
And he said, "Look, we're not selling hotel rooms. We're not selling drinks. We're not selling food. We're selling a memory." And that was something I always tried to communicate at the store was, look, we're, to staff. We're not selling cigars.
Right.
We had a bar, so we're not selling booze. We're selling a memory.
Hmm.
If someone walks in here, I want them, if it's a tourist, I want them to, when they go home, they may not remember what they drank, remember what they smoked. They may not even remember the name of the store.
Okay.
But when they go home, I want one of their highlights to be, we were hanging out at the Cigar Lounge. We had a great time. Because then when they go, their friend is saying, hey, I'm going to Nashville in a week. And then they say, well, here, I went to this awesome cigar lounge. Let me Google real quick. And then it pops up. They see the pictures of that inside. Then they're going to say, oh, yeah, this is where you need to go.
They hear the story. They see the pictures. They instantaneously put two and two together and go, I'm going there.
Yeah.
This comes recommended. I trust my friend.
And that's, a lot of people, especially when you're going into what is a luxury consumable in cigars.
They are a luxury item. I mean, they're not, we're not selling, those white packs of smokes from the Army, right? The no-name, whatever. This is a highly sought-after item that is handmade. It's a premium item.
Yeah.
I mean, you can get inexpensive cigars, but this is a premium item, right?
Well, people talk about buying them online. Okay, great. Buy them online. Get them to your house. That'll take a week. Then when you get them, you're going to put them in your humidor because they got to rehydrate. That'll be another week. So you can smoke them.
There is that because you don't know where they're sitting.
Maybe 3 weeks. Maybe 3 weeks you can
I
enjoy
would
What?
not smoke anything from an online purchase or a shipment,
It's
right?
been in transit.
It's been in transit for a couple days. It's in the back
At a
of some guy's
minimum.
truck. Is the cellophane on the box really wrapped that nice? Were they kept nice beforehand? Who knows? So they're going to go in my humidor. They're going to go in quarantine first because I just don't,
Yeah.
I've been stung by that. And a couple big brands that everybody, like specific cigars, opened up the end of the tube, put it in my humidor, right? And that's a tube, so you shouldn't have to do that. But it's in a metal tube. It's not gonna keep humidity. So I take the cap off, right, and I leave it in the tube, and if I don't have an elephant's foot growing out of that thing in 2 weeks, and I'm like, great, now we got to wipe down the humidor, pull everything out, wipe it all down. This is horrible. All right, so go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
But-
I derailed you.
But, a big part of it was figuring out how to make sure that people didn't see, the in-store prices with taxes and everything, the upcharge that you have on booze at a bar, helping them, blind them to that kind of through the experience.
It is a business.
Yeah.
Businesses, by their definition, should be making money. So somebody's had to put out a large amount of capital,
Yep.
right? They need a return on that capital. And they've got a lot of overhead, and most importantly, they've got a lot of liability. Huge amounts of liability.
Oh, yeah.
Insurance goes up all the time, blah, blah, blah. We don't have to get into that, but somebody has put out millions of dollars. There should be a refund. There should be that return. You stick your money in the market, you give it to a stock trader, right? You're expecting a return, are you not? What do? You sit there and be like, it's all right. I'll take a loss every year because I like you. I'll take a loss. No. So the retailer
all be Spotify
and take the middle out of everything. So it's a little of ignorance, but at the same time, you really have to bite your tongue and be like, I don't really want to get into this conversation. Like the price is the price. Don't insult me. Look around. It takes a lot of money. That's all you feel bad saying that. And I haven't mastered that art yet.
Yeah, it's figuring out the wording to help, again, on that one especially, just help educate on, the difference is it's not just a massive warehouse mechanically operated. Like these are, we have staff to pay, we have furniture to pay off, we have, electricity bills that are really high because we're running, incredible air filtration. Water bills that are super high because we're running incredible hydration systems within our humidor. That all has a cost.
You got the filters for any of the filtration you put on that water. I mean, everywhere you go, music, Wi-Fi. I love guys that come into a humidor. Well, all right. So, Chris, come on. What's the next one? Where are we at? What am I missing?
If you know anything, if you know everything, maintain courtesy. Okay? You don't have to share every bit of knowledge that you have. When seeking assistance, engaging with them and looking for the industry knowledge is essential to the overall health of the industry and society. Take the time to consider what questions you have and actively listen.
Okay. Was that what number was that? That was 5. All right, so you got to listen to your retailer. They're a wealth of knowledge. They're they're in the industry. I mean, if you don't want to know, don't ask. If you don't want us to explain it to you, right?
If you already know, don't ask.
You don't need to ask. I mean, like, I've had guys walk in, and I'm sure you have too, that they try and trip you up on stuff. And I just easier to, like, you know what? I don't know the ins and outs of that. This is the wrapper, binder, and filler, and I like it because of these qualities. Might not be your jam because it's a little too mild or it's not spicy enough. And just leave it at that. Like, that's what I've gotten out of it. But that's my taste buds. And I don't take blood thinners or any of that other. Have you heard about that?
No.
The blood thinner thing?
No.
All right, so I've gotten this on for 3 different people. The spice, the hotness, that really punchiness. That guy's like, oh, no, that's pretty mild. And I'm looking at him going, oh, yeah, I kicked my dick in. That was a poof. That was a pretty nasty cigar. I mean, not nasty, but in a bad way, but like it attacked me. And after I heard this, I said, hey, look, not to get into who you are or what you're doing, but if you are on blood thinners, it does something to your taste buds. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard it now from 3 different industry people, and they all say the same thing. They're like, oh, yeah, totally. Those guys will be, you can't get it hot enough, spicy enough, peppery enough for some reason. Okay. I can, medications offset a lot of different things, right? Your eyesight, your blood pressure, you take something for your, one thing and it's offsetting something else. So there is that. So you kind of have to, not without getting into their medical records, but.
Yeah. One of the best things I ever heard, I can't remember who told me it, but they said, the measure of a man is how willing they are to say the words, I don't know.
Yeah.
Those are my 3 favorite words. That, look, I can look something up. I had people all the time who, they're like, hey, what's this about this cigar? I'm like, I have no clue. Let me Google it for you real quick.
Yeah.
Which locked people in to coming in. Because then they're like, oh, this person isn't just going to bullshit me.
Yeah, I can't stand that.
To try to sell me.
I can't stand that.
And, yeah, it's one of those things where on the objective stuff, you can Google that, look that up, but just tell someone, hey, I don't know. And if you walk into a humidor, there is nothing wrong with not knowing about cigars.
No.
That's what we're paid to do, is to educate, is to help you have a great experience. And if you walk in and, you just take one article that you read on God knows where.
Yeah, we'll leave some of those. We'll do.
But you're not going to get to have the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
And then learn from different people on it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Everyone's got a different take.
Yeah.
Some guys go really crazy on their descriptions and flavors and things like that. Like I said earlier, I can grab 2, mainly 3, sometimes 4. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's stretching it. Like I really have to sit there and think about it. Like I'm a little round, so I like food, but a lot of times I don't pay attention to what I'm eating. And they like dive into the nuance of why this buttered almond, pastry is better than the. I don't. It's just whatever. It's nice. It's good. It reminds me of this.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. I always laughed when someone would try to be like, "No, this cigar tastes like this." I'm like, "Well, what have you eaten today?
Oh yeah.
What did you drink today? How much water have you had today? How hydrated are you? If it's summer in Nashville, were you working outside? Were you mowing your lawn? Because that's going to change the composition of everything. And that's why I very rarely give out flavor notes if I'm talking about a cigar. I'll say...
Oh, the customer will hang you on it.
Yeah. To me, I'll say, yeah, it's sweet. Or, yeah, I get a lot of, black pepper spice out of it. But that's why I much prefer saying, hey, why do you enjoy smoking? And then if they tell me, hey, this is what I enjoy smoking.
I ask that all the time. Yeah. Like, what's your go-to?
Yeah.
Tell me what you enjoy. And most likely I've probably smoked it. There's a lot of stuff I haven't, but most likely, for the most part, of people going into humidors, because humidors in a retail brick and mortar, they don't have everything, right? So they're not going to have some of the really weird stuff. A lot of guys concentrate on the boutique. But for the most part, I've smoked everything in that humidor at Blue Label, and I got to tell you, what do you smoke would be a better question than how can I help you or whatever. Like, hey, what's your go-to? Yeah. And are you looking to deviate? You want something new and fresh and maybe something outside of your wheelhouse, or you want something that hits the mark and you're not into discovery? And I want to sit down for a 2-hour journey, and I just want to hit the mark. I've only got an hour and a half. And I don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want to be beaten up. I tell this one to guys all the time. I said, look, I'm a fat dad from the suburbs. I got kids. I got a dog. I got a marriage. The last thing on my mind is having a cigar beat the shit out of me for the hour and a half that I can steal away. Where my phone's not going off, or I can hide. A lot of times you just want to go hide. Just leave me alone. Yeah. My day's full of stress. All these other things are factors. You just want to like, whoa. I want to get to something that's going to please me, and not a what is that? Come on, not violate me. I don't want to be violated, Danny. Leave me alone. Give me something safe.
But that's one of the questions I really don't ask that often anymore. But I used to was, are you looking for something more mellow, medium, or bold in strength? Yeah. And I ask that a lot less now, because I would always get people who'd be like, oh, I like something really mild. And then they would say some...
like this.
Some absurdly strong cigar to me.
See?
And I'm like, oh, okay, so... Because if I just asked, if they just said, I want something mild, and then I give them a cigar that I view as mild. But like to them, they're going to be like, what the hell did you just hand me?
It's an air biscuit.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, so...
like, wow, that really is mild. Thanks for no body, no flavor.
Yeah, but if I know someone enjoys smoking X, Y, and Z, then I can say... And then I can follow it up with, so you tend to enjoy kind of in that, that medium full range. And then they can say, oh, no, that's really mellow. Then I know, okay, if I want to give them something, kind of out of their wheelhouse... Don't give them something that I would judge as mellow. Give them something maybe that I would judge as a straight ahead medium. Right. If I want to kind of challenge them that way.
Because everyone's got different taste buds, like the medication thing. All sorts of factors go into it, and they might not know what mild is. They might have started at medium when they started smoking, and that's it, right? So I don't think that's the bottom.
Yeah, 100%. It's just one of the, again, it all kind of, to me, boils down to just be happy with using the words, I don't know.
I don't know.
That
I think this might
trust.
work. Yeah. If you want something outside of your wheel, I've noticed, guys, I don't know about you, Chris, but I've noticed, myself included, I'm not a big Dominican guy. There's just something about it, my taste buds, turns into a very sour taste. You get that sour aftertaste. And it's just, I don't know. There's been some Dominicans that are really great. But for the majority, whatever. And I ask guys, they're like, oh, what do you like? So, I only smoke Fuente. Fuente. I said, okay, great. So you're a Dominican dude. I got it. And you've got, what, Cameroon. Cameroon wrapper, Dominican binder and filler. We should probably hit the mark with something else. And you can kind of use that because they know a flavor profile. And for most people, they can hit that 50% of the time. They get, that 50% of that flavor, they'll hit all the time. They'll pick up on that. So I have noticed that.
Yeah.
Chris, where are we at? We're at number 6? We're rounding to number 7, right? This is the top 7
Yes.
Cigar Lounge Etiquette things.
I feel like I'm on Letterman.
Oh, wait till I start throwing cards.
Do not be afraid to ask for assistance. It's why we are here.
Make us earn our money.
Yeah.
Put us to work. It's what we love. That's
You have
my
to-
favorite part of the gig.
Yeah. You have to ask for assistance. Let me see the list real quick. You have to ask for assistance. It's going to yeah. Right? Customer service, part of the role, we're sharing our expertise, satisfying experience or memory. All these things kind of go into that.
You're paying for it when you walk in.
Mm-hmm.
You're paying for the expertise, you're paying for the knowledge, you're paying for the experience. If you don't want that, then go pick up a cigar at the gas station. I mean, my thoughts.
Yeah, I've watched some of the most knowledgeable people in this industry walk into a humidor and ask someone they've never met, just say, hey, what are you smoking right now? What are you enjoying right now? Because that's the beauty of it is, especially, whether you're someone who's never smoked a cigar before or someone who smokes constantly. To me, the most fun part is variety. That's where that's how you keep the passion and the interest going.
This was Kai's list. This was Kai's list. This isn't the main Blue Label list. You picked the top one. That was done just at the end of last year. So that one's a modified. These topics are part 2.
Okay.
So we'll hit the last one real quick. Come on, where are we here? Maintain curiosity. Yeah. Cuban. Oh yeah, the Cuban comments. How it's been explained in the article is, don't even start. I don't want to listen to it. No retailer does. We're in America. We cannot legitimately sell Cuban cigars. And when like Cubans are the best, Cubans are this, Cubans are that, I say 9 out of 10 times that Cuban is not really a Cuban.
For me, I always enjoyed it because I had the chance to say, well, you enjoy this, you enjoy a Cuban Cohiba, smoke this, smoke this Mil Diaz Habano.
Right?
You're going to enjoy it. It's going to smoke incredibly well. You're not going to get, the odds of you getting a bad one are
pretty rare
slim to damn near none.
Yeah.
They're going to smoke well. So those, I watched so many people stop saying that completely. That's just one of those things.
I personally love I only smoke Cubans. Well, then what are you doing in the store? And why do you not know that when you walk into a retailer, you're not going to find Cubans? And if you do find Cubans, they're $300 a stick. And maybe they're real, maybe they're not. But that goes down a whole different rabbit hole.
Yeah.
But this was Kai's list, right?
It's not 1962, so you're not going to find them here.
No.
But, and that's a lot of time. We would get a lot of bachelor parties and bachelorette parties that would come into the store, and they would say, well, are you guys able to sell Cuban cigars now? And then that was a great opportunity to say, oh, no, that
kind of educate them on the embargo.
The embargo is still in effect. Here's why. Give them an understanding of what the Cuban people are still going through to this day.
Right.
And then say, look, that's why the Cuban people aren't getting anything from this.
No.
So let's support an amazing community like Esteli, Nicaragua, or Donley, Honduras, or Santiago, Dominican Republic.
It's the same principle.
Yeah.
Right? You're buying a cigar that's built in a third world country, and you should understand that you're supporting a culture of people that need the help.
Yeah.
And they're talented because this is what they've been doing forever.
Yeah.
Well, that's a great idea to look at it that way. I just look at it like this. People ask, and it's like, it's a small island, okay? They've got X amount of places where they grow these cigars.
Mm-hmm.
And
you mean they come out of the ground like this, right?
They're not getting more dirt, okay?
I mean, they come out like asparagus, right? They're not sitting there ready to be plucked.
They're not bringing new dirt in the past 70, 80 years. Mm-hmm. You're getting less of a quality product from a place like that than you are out of Honduras. I would rather have something from there because it's all new technology. I don't want the same dirt that's been tilled over 150 seasons or whatever it's been.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Who wants that?
Mm-hmm. Well, the problem with that is I don't even think, it's very hard for them to get outside of Romeo and Montecristo and Cohiba to get fertilizer.
And
they're lacking a lot of that in the soil. So it's kind of run out.
I don't think 99% of the people that claim that they smoke only Cuban cigars have ever actually smoked a Cuban cigar. Mm-hmm. Because like you said,
a vast majority of them probably have not.
Right. Have you been to Cuba? How do you know it's really a Cuban cigar? Have you heard of counterfeits? I mean,
yeah. Where did you buy it? Right. Oh, I got it in Mexico on the beach. That's probably not happening.
And I think a lot of it, again, comes down to that fear of sounding unknowledgeable.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to keep harping on it. My favorite phrase is, I don't know. That's put us to work. If, that's one of those things where people want to sound, because it can be a very intimidating environment. Like you're walking into this thing that
it's filled with cigars, somebody's in charge of.
Mm-hmm. There's a ton of options. And it's this action that you usually see in movies and stuff like that on TV. And it's such an abstract idea. But the beautiful thing about these retailers is that you get the chance to learn.
Mm-hmm. If you pay attention and if you ask, you have to keep your mind open.
Yeah.
A lot of the stuff you've been told may or may not be true. Mm-hmm. You should rely on somebody that's in the industry. Mm-hmm. They've talked with they've talked in the industry. They've talked with the reps. They've talked with the manufacturers. They kind of have a little bit more insight rather than just the average blog that's running around the internet. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's that.
Yeah.
But those points were off of part 2. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why that's not listed as part 2, but stick the other one up. And I think the first one that comes off of the main blog that's pulling all the traffic is dress appropriately. I mean, there's some lounges you can go into in jogging pants and a t-shirt and have no problem. Because it's just a grouping of chairs. It's a place to smoke, get out of the weather, if you will. And then there's other places that you look at and you're like, all right, I spent a lot of time on decor. The inside is, got some art, interior design work to it, right? You should probably call and ask first if there is a dress code, right? But you should always be presentable. You shouldn't smell, shouldn't have dirty feet, muddy boots. Remember were you there for the firemen that walked in?
No.
Oh my God. I saw these firemen walk in one day to the lounge and they had mud all over their boots. Mm-hmm. They walked in like nothing, and there's broken glass in the mud because they were out training. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, how do you do that? This goes to that Gen Z, Gen X, not Gen X, but the millennials and the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas. I don't think they've got a lot of this information. I mean, that goes beyond etiquette. That's just common sense that people are not getting. And that's a sure way to piss off your retailer, piss off your lounge owner.
Yeah, I think, different environments are going to have different dress standards. That's in Nashville, Nashville's a very casual city. There's very few places I couldn't just go and dress like this. Mm-hmm. But, and there are certain places that are going to have dress codes, certain places that are going to be much more casual. Personal hygiene, I think, just comes down to just life in general. Just have good hygiene.
Well, you are in a public area. I mean,
Yeah.
and it's a very intimate public area. It's not like you're sitting at your own table. You're most likely going to be sitting pretty close to somebody else. There's a lounge owner or a manager running the lounge who's going to be, I don't want to say passing judgment, but they have to clean up after you. So when they go into the bathroom and you've redecorated, they're not happy.
Yeah.
They're not happy. So you should have a little bit of that. All right. The next one. We're going to rip through these kind of quick because we
Respect others and their space.
Yep. Definitely have to do that. Don't be putting your stuff everywhere that you're infringing on somebody else. So some lounges you're packed in there pretty tight.
Yeah.
And then others you've got more space. So this is kind of something that you kind of have to, if you're sharing an ashtray with somebody, don't just grab their cigar and move it. Ask them, hey, could you move your cigar to that side? I don't want to touch it. But let's see if we can switch out the ashtray or something because we're a little over full and that type of thing. What do you think?
Yeah. It's again just your experience isn't everything. Like your experience is your experience. The person next to you, their experience is just as important.
And we don't
Right.
want to share everybody else's experiences with them.
Yeah.
No.
It's
The guy sitting down next to me eating a bowl of, a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, I really don't want to smell it.
yeah. It's
I didn't come in, if I wanted to go smell Kentucky Fried Chicken, I'd go to the chicken shack, right? Like,
Yeah, I think.
and then take your greasy hands and go like this on the arms of the chairs and, wipe them off and, just leave your trash laying there. And it's not right. It's not right. You are sharing this environment with other people who have other expectations, and they're also looking for a very nice time, and their idea of that nice time is most likely different than yours. It overlaps with the cigar smoking.
Yeah, but how about listening to somebody's cell phone conversation?
No, absolutely
That's
not.
always nice.
No, absolutely not. Keep your goddamn cell phone to yourself. Get up, take your phone, walk off I don't care where you're at. I mean, that's just going back to this thing where you put it on speakerphone and you're watching the TV and you're yelling into your speakerphone and the guy sitting next to you is trying to get away from his phone because you won't know he might sit there for 6 hours on the phone fixing problems all day, right?
Yeah, I always viewed it as, I never liked the comparison to like you're going to someone's living room. I always viewed it as, look, you're coming to my party.
Okay.
So I'm going to treat you like I want everyone to have a good time. That's going to be my goal. So I'm going to treat it like I'm having people over for a party.
Okay.
I want to make sure people's
That's a good
drinks
way.
are filled. I want to make sure everyone's having a good time. Everyone's being respected. In the same manner, treat going to a lounge like you're going to somebody you don't know, but that you're interested in getting to know, like you're going to a party of theirs for the first time.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, I
Take
like
care
that.
of the furniture. If you spill something, hey, let the person know. Hey, I spilled this. Is it annoying sometimes? Yeah, but
Does it make you look like a goof? You kind of have to get over it. You just spilled it. Own it.
And look,
Own
it happens. As long as I find out about it, yeah, I can clean up that drink, and then we're good to go.
Yeah, it happens.
but
And the
that's-
lounge owners, if you bring it to them right away and be like, hey, whoever's managing the lounge, you bring it to me. I had an accident. I spilled my drink or I spilled my coffee. How can I clean that up? Or how do we do? Right away, bring it to their attention. They'll appreciate that more than you hiding it and then walking out all of a sudden and leaving them. And they go walk over and they go, whoa, why is this? Oh no, it's all dried. It's all over the chair. Yeah, so that goes without saying.
Number three.
Number
Be
three.
knowledgeable about cigars. I think
We've touched on that.
Share the lounge space. We've pretty much covered that. Maintain proper hygiene. We did that.
Yeah,
Follow the lounge's rules.
that's a big one. That's a big one. And when you walk in, you're like, is there anything that I need to know? That's cell phones and things like that. Like I know at Blue Label, they've got a pretty hard, you will turn your phone on silent. You will not be taking calls. You are not listening to your iPad or your tablet. You're watching YouTube videos where everyone else. No, it's just, there are rules in certain environments. Then there's certain other environments that don't have those rules. It's all about being courteous.
Yeah. Look, I think a lot of it kind of goes down to the same thing as like on an airplane.
I wouldn't go there.
If you're
I wouldn't go
gonna
there. Have you flown lately? Oh my
But,
God.
like, But like if you're gonna be listening to something, have a headphone in. you know.
Perfect. Yeah.
conversations, if I'm having a conversation with you guys right here, I don't need to yell across the room to people that are 5 feet away.
Sure. Some people do have bad hearing aids, though, so...
Oh, yeah, 100. Look,
yeah.
I can't hear a thing out of my right ear.
What?
That's right. But, so I'm just going to ask, hey, can you repeat that? Girls I've dated hate that. Oh, man.
What?
That's caused so many fights. I'm like,
you're talking into the wrong ear.
I just literally can't hear.
I thought it was your right ear that you couldn't hear out of. Well, yeah. But I was talking into the left. Uh-huh. Oh, were you? Must not have been must have tuned out there for a minute.
But, it's one of those things where it just comes down to, I think, common courtesy. And I think part of it is a lot of us lost that over, the whole year of 2020, where everything moved from this to this. Yeah. So, this
we became self-absorbed.
Well, this type of interaction, those cues go away really quick.
They do. It's like driving. How many people lost the ability to drive? Mm-hmm. Now you walk around and you're like, Jesus, you drive around, you're like, you don't remember how to, you don't be playing with your phone while you're driving. You're drifting in oncoming traffic.
That never happens when I'm driving through the Chicago area. But yeah, it's, the beauty of these environments is you're locked in for 45 minutes to an hour or 2 hours because of this.
Right.
Which is why you can tend to have some of those difficult conversations that you maybe wouldn't be able to have with someone just at a bar.
Mm-hmm.
Because...
Now, bar's 15 minutes, 10 minutes, and that person's gone, their drink gone, whatever. But once you get a chair in a lounge, in a cigar lounge, you're there for a good bit. Like you're going to enjoy your cigar, and the guy next to you is, talking about this. So, keeping an open mind, you definitely have to do that. And remember, this is about conversation. There's a reason this is sitting there. It's either contemplation or conversation. One of the two. You either want to sit in the corner and let your mind wander, or you want to engage with somebody else and have a fresh point of view, or learn some different viewpoints, that type of thing.
And, one of the ways that I found just worked really well, and maybe you had someone who it's their first time in a lounge, or it's someone who, especially 2021, 2022, where people just hadn't been around other people much. Bring someone into a conversation. You learn those cues and stuff through practice. Everything is about practice. Being a good hang is about practice.
It is. It is.
And that's why, as you see someone who's been hanging out in the lounges for a decade or more, they're going to have those quicker comebacks.
Yeah.
Man, I've eaten shit so many times and trying to, outwit someone.
Some people are so fast. Like Chris, he has some things that fucking fall out of his mouth so quick, and you're like, that would have taken me all day.
Oh, yeah. But then I remember, I'm 28. I'm not going to be able to be as quick as someone who's been talking shit for 40 years.
Are you calling me old? You better not be calling me old.
Look, I looked to that corner when I said that for a reason.
Just so you weren't dialed in on focusing on my gray hair. Oh,
that's right.
There's another tuft over there.
He's old enough to be your grandson at this point.
Oh, my God, don't say that. You know what? We might have to go for a paternity test.
Dad? But you learn
when you hit a certain age, you do worry about that. Who's that? Open the door. Yeah. Dad?
Father's Day. Wrong number. But, it's one of those things, a lot of people don't have it from the get-go, but you can train them.
They can get experience.
Without actively training them. Just tying people in, giving them that community, and then that really starts to weed out a lot of those negative behaviors.
Sure.
There are times where it comes to the point where, as a retailer, you got to step in and say, hey, can we chat in the humidor real quick? And just be like,
hey, I want to show you something.
Yeah.
It just dawned on me. And then right off the floor.
This behavior, I noticed, a lot of people are getting uncomfortable with this. Yeah. We want you to be part of our community.
Yeah, take a step back.
Yeah. If you could just be mindful of this.
Right.
And just never doing that in front of other people. Always do that privately.
Well, there is that time when some guy starts doing something like it. There was a guy rinsed out his glass because we were tasting some whiskeys, and He put some water in his glass, swizzled it around, drank it, and then went like this on the floor. I damn near lost. I did lose my shit. His buddy was like laughing and kind of like petrified at the same moment because I came over to the bar like halfway, like, don't you ever do that again. I don't care who you are or you do that at home. No, don't do that. That's ignorant. And he just looked at me and goes, well, yeah. I'm like, look, I spent six hours. Somebody spent 6 hours mopping this floor, keeping it clean. Don't do that.
Well, it also comes down to an easy way on that is, hey, doing that creates a lot of moisture on the ground. Someone slips and falls,
Yeah,
I
there's
could
that.
lose my business.
Sure.
But I think a lot of the stuff can be kind of implicitly trained.
Sure.
Through just
Off-
tying people in.
Yeah, and off-floor conversations, like
Yeah.
you said. Hey, I just remembered something. Come on in the humidor. So, and you also have to remember that you're in somebody else's domain. You're sharing that space with not only other customers, but you're also sharing it with the owner of the business, the establishment, and they have a reputation. And they have a certain amount of guests that they please every day. When, you kind of have to, kind of massage those rough edges a little bit. Where are we at? Because the fungus thing was not on the other list. I'm like, wait a minute, what list are we reading from?
Engage in conversation.
All right, we hit that.
Yeah.
We handled that just by, and it's organic, isn't it? Like our conversation just led into that, so that should ring true to everybody listening right now. That is very important. Engage, and if you don't want to engage, disengage. Be like, yeah, guys, that sounds like interesting. Like, I'm just trying to chill out today, so I really don't have the mental fortitude for a conversation today.
Yeah.
Don't think I'm trying to be a jerk. I need some me time, dudes.
And I would expand on that into engage in respectful conversation. One of my 7th grade teachers said something that has stuck with me since then, which was...
Did she have to beat it into you?
He said, stupid people talk about people. Average people talk about events. Interesting people talk about ideas. And I always...
I like that.
I always took the...
That didn't come from public school, did it?
It did.
No.
Gateway School
What
District.
public school?
Gateway School District.
No.
in Monroeville, Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania.
But
That's
and I always
right.
took-
You're a half a Yinzer.
And absolutely.
Well,
But,
Monroeville doesn't count as a Yinzer. Well, like sort of. I guess
I worked
it's
within
close
the
enough.
city. But
We never talked about that. That was good. That might be a part 2 of like Pittsburgh or Yinzer stories.
and I always, when I think about that third part with cigar lounges, is I always ask people to shy away from politics and religion. I never tried to get people to shy away from philosophical debates, because when you're talking about philosophical debates, it's not my team versus your team. It's, hey, this idea.
This idea, right?
And that's, I have conversations. In the last couple of months, I've had 2 of the most interesting conversations of my life with someone who I'd say we probably disagree on 99% of things. But we didn't bring it into the political side. It was
Right.
just, hey, here are my ideas on this. Here are mine. Here's where we differ. And both of our views shifted a little bit in those conversations.
That's great.
We became...
That's what conversation is.
Yeah, we became
Like,
better
we've lost
friends.
that. We just scream into a meme and blast people and relax. There might be something that the other person's experienced that you might actually take back, and they might take something back, and both of you might move closer to the middle of seeing eye to eye.
Well,
Yeah.
if
I like
can just
that.
say listening is a lost art.
Huh? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'm guilty of that. I'm totally guilty of that.
Oh, yeah. And it's just, when you approach it rather as, this idea rather than this political thing, those 2 different approaches get a much different reaction.
They do.
That's...
They keep the lounge nice, too.
Yeah.
Keep it lively. Keep it engaged. Right?
Oh, yeah.
What do you got? Next one.
Don't be a fun guy.
There's the fungus.
Be a fun guy.
Yes. So don't be a fungus. Be a fun guy. Right? So fungus. I mean, you've heard of this. Guy comes in, buys 1 cigar, and he sits there for 5 hours. Okay. if your lounge works on a membership or day pass, it's a little different. Like you let that go. But if it's public, and you sit there and you take one cigar and you're there all day, and you just monopolize that chair, and there's other people standing around smoking their cigar, and you're not smoking. You've had your one Robusto. You've tapped out at 30 minutes. It's over with. Go buy another cigar, or move on. Right? What do you think of that?
That, I think, is one of the most difficult situations to handle on the lounge side.
But it's valid.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay, all right.
Look, in the end...
I was looking to be validated. You have to validate me, damn it. So go ahead, sorry.
But, it's one of those things of really actively figuring out on how to have that conversation. It's a really hard conversation to have.
It is.
It's one that I never completely figured out how to have it.
I haven't either, and it's a third rail type thing, because then the customer might not ever come back again.
Yeah.
And they might be great. They might have some dynamic in the lounge that keeps everybody else coming back. They might be a funny joke teller or every day, But I haven't found that either. That's why I think the blog and a podcast is kind of an interesting way to kind of segue into that, because that's what, number 6?
That's the last one.
Oh, that's the last one?
Yeah.
So it's something where you can learn about that, and you can get educated about it or enlightened about it. And we don't have to have that. In the industry, we don't have to have that uncomfortable conversation, because there's plenty of those. Sorry?
I can resolve that.
Okay. Well, this is gonna be great.
Day pass and a 2 cigar minimum. There you go. That's the way it works.
Some lounges.
You walk into how many bars do we ever go back into, and 2 drink minimum?
Yeah. I mean, there is some part to that could work, that does work, but the environment has to be right for it. But I guess you could just walk up and. Can I get you another cigar?
And that's
how did you like that cigar? Like,
yeah.
I noticed you finished that one pretty quick. Would you like another one? And just kind of prod it. No, I'm fine. Oh, okay. Well, let me know when you're ready for another one. And just kind of, maybe. I don't know. I'm not good at that.
No.
That was the one where, I tried to approach it more on a sales side of, hey, look, if you enjoyed that, hey, let me show you some stuff to, take with you when you leave. Or, hey, let me show you a great cigar to smoke next.
Yeah. But it's definitely a very difficult conversation.
When you have
agree.
a bar, it's a little easier, because then you can say, hey, I see your drink's getting low. What can I get you for the next drink? That type of thing.
Or, hey, why don't you move down to the end of the bar? These 2 people want to sit together. There's all sorts of ways. I mean, you can...
But, that's one of those conversations I never...
Yeah,
I never figured out.
No. And this is that great spot to do it, because you can learn it, and you can pick up on those cues when the lounge manager comes by and says, hey, I noticed you went through that pretty quick. Do you need another cigar? What can I get you next?
Yeah. But that was one I always tried to avoid, the, hey, look, you smoked a cigar. Hey, you haven't smoked in a while. I need you to buy or leave. Because
that's tough.
That's a guest you'll probably never get back. But
or you just tell them up front, are you going to be smoking with us today? Yes. Okay, we have a 2 cigar minimum.
A lot of times they just smoke one and they sit there. They take the other one, they put it in their pocket.
Okay.
And
That's great.
yeah, it's tough.
That's great.
It's tough.
It's common courtesy.
It is.
You're taking up space. Nothing's free.
What, you could ask me, like, what, are you studying to be an astronaut? I see on your phone, are you studying to be an astronaut? And the guy goes, no, I don't think so. What do I? Oh, well, I saw you here just taking up space. So. That's rude. That's totally rude.
That'll get a gun pulled on you in the South, man.
Shit, that'll get you a gun pulled twice as fast on you in Chicagoland.
It's fair.
And in the South, I think they'd probably be a little hesitant of pulling the trigger. Here, I think they just flip their switch and give you a mag full. Is there anything else that you think that's been left off the list? Did we cover most of it? And there's one thing that we haven't touched on, and that's the family of Oz.
Absolutely.
But is there anything we missed about etiquette?
I don't think so. I think...
Because you had some really good insights and a couple little pieces there that...
I always view it as, because I think sometimes the conversation kind of gets us into an us versus them with, retailers saying, well, the guest has to act this way, and then the guest will say, well, why would I act this way when this, and this? I think in the end, this industry only survives with both parts.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's figuring out.
It's a symbiotic relationship, 100%.
And my view has always been, 99% of lounge etiquette things come through example, through service.
True.
You'll get those situations where, look, you have to have that conversation. You have to pull the person aside, or God forbid, you have to ban someone, which is always the last option. It's always a horrible option.
It is a horrible option because bad news travels 100 times faster than good.
Yep.
And that's the first thing that someone's going to say is, I was treated poorly. It was bad. There was somebody that came in and they wanted to cherry pick all the really limited edition stuff that was tucked away for an event. They, the guy Kai at Blue Label, he tried to explain it to him. Like, look, those are event cigars. We're sitting on those. If you're going to be in town, please get a pass, get in there. That's going to be a great event. But you've been to 4 other cigars. I heard him say, like, you've been to 4 other humidors today, right? Well, yeah. Did they sell you one of those? Well. I said, wait a minute. What do you do? And it turns out that 2 of these 6 people worked in humidors. I mean, they worked in the cigar industry. So they're already knowledgeable about what those limited edition, and they wanted to buy the whole box. I said, well, there's a time and a place for that. And if there's only 1 box left and it's not on the shelf, you can ask, like, hey, is it a possibility where I can buy the box or a couple out of that box? Like, what are you guys doing with it? I'm interested. But then you have to respect the retailer and their upcoming events and their other customers and membership. I know at Blue Label, they always protect their members. So if that's something that's being held for an event or a special tasting or something like that, that's what they do. So, yeah,
it's, the goal is always figuring out a way where both parties are happy, but there are unfortunately times where it's, look, I can't do that. But, we always said, one thing that was taught to me by my first manager at CDM Nashville was, if someone leaves unhappy, we lost. Even if, we had to kick someone out. Even if we were in the right, we still lost.
Kai said that those people, they no sooner got to they didn't even get to their car, and one of them was already leaving, a 1 star with a, how can I leave a 0-star review? They know exactly the business. Like this particular individual, her husband was the guy that managed a store outside of Denver, and was like, well, you know the deal. You like, well, why are you trying to, like that hurts reputation instantaneously. You know how averages work. I mean, you do, math, you're pretty quick. Quicker than I am with math. If I can't count it on 2 hands and figure it out with, taking the safety off.
Well, people come in here and they may complain about something, but and I know the reality of it is when they do things like that, it's like, well, you're just opening up the door. You're not the only one that has access to Al Gore's internet. We can all go on there, and I can write a review on a place I've never been to before. It's
sure can.
Very easy to do.
It's pretty ignorant, though.
But if you have to make an example out of some people, sometimes examples need to be made. I'm not one to spare the rod, so to speak,
Chris is a little rough around the edges sometimes. Like there's a reason why.
There's other ways too. We don't have to deal with the internet.
Hey, how did you like this? My Frankenstein 50/50.
I've got a great name for it.
Okay.
I'll say it off the podcast.
No, you can't do that. All right, so what? I'll tell you what it is.
Dr. Jekyll.
Dr. Jekyll?
And Mr. Rye.
Oh, that's fucking great. So I know you don't drink any longer, but you will appreciate this. So this is 12-year-old Knob Creek single barrel.
Okay.
This is their new 12-year. And Basil Haddon dark rye. It's a 50. It's a 50/50.
Okay.
With a little, probably a spoonful, like a teaspoon of water, just to take the sharp edge off and get it to bloom a little bit. And that's because I like bourbon, but I don't like the sugar. I'd rather have the rye. I think a rye goes with, for me, rye goes better with a cigar. It's So these are two of my go-tos, and I thought, oh, they'd probably be pretty good together. So do you like it?
Yes.
All right, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I like that. That's going in a bottle. We're gonna make our own bottle with that.
Let's make a book. Let's do a book on them.
You want to do a book?
Yeah.
You could do that.
I think we could do one better than a few of the other people out there.
Right. Okay, so we've given it far enough. Here it is, Ozinger Family Cigars. Tim Ozinger, I've met at a couple different times. Wonderful dude. Has the lineage. His dad, or was his granddad?
His father, Jono.
His father, right? That was part of CAO.
Yep, yeah. Jono started CAO in the '60s, primarily as a meerschaum pipe importer. They
Really?
later got into humidors and then cigars.
Okay.
And that's Tim. In 2022, came back into the industry as one of our company's owners, and we introduced the Oz Family Cigars line.
Okay.
This one first saw it is the third iteration, the third regular production line from him.
Right.
Great.
This is the the mild plus.
This one, yeah, it's a Connecticut shade wrapper, Habano binder, all Nicaraguan fillers. This one, I would say when people think of Connecticut shade, oftentimes they think of really, really, really mellow.
Yeah.
This one, it's a higher priming Connecticut shade wrapper. So that
A
wrap
little more
relief,
punch.
Yep, so
right?
that wrap relief comes off of a higher point on the plant.
Which are smaller leaves.
Yeah, so it's going to depend. That's much.
It's a box
much further
press.
Than yeah.
So it's a nice, easy draw.
Yeah, it's everyone I've had.
It will be. I haven't. I've smoked a bunch of these.
Oh yeah.
And so when you broke it out, I was like, ooh.
We smoked a number of them together.
Yeah.
But this one, yeah, it's made at the Casa Carrillo factory in Santiago, Dominican Republic.
Okay.
Really, really rich in flavor. Tons of smoke output, so lots of body. To me personally, I'd say strength-wise, and that like mild into medium range.
Yeah.
It can pair well with a whiskey.
It does.
But it can also, you can do it with a dark roast coffee. It's going to have enough body to stand up to something a little bit richer in flavor.
It does. I wouldn't pair this with 100 proof whiskey. No. It gets lost.
I wouldn't pair much with a higher proof whiskey personally.
Well, there's plenty of, I always think of it as your cigar's body and flavor profile kind of have to match the intensity of the whiskey or the bourbon, right?
Yeah.
What I like about this, and you said touch coffee, the touched on coffee. Yeah, definitely. This is a espresso, might be a little heavy for this cigar, but if you put a little cream, I don't know if you had a true like Italian espresso with milk, but it's a shot of espresso, and then they fill the rest of the glass up with which is milk, whole milk typically. And that's what they drink for breakfast a lot of times. Now, outside of the straight guys who just have a shot of espresso.
Yeah.
This, believe it or not, pairs well with a medium-bodied cab, like crazy. That is nuts. So when I get into a bottle of wine for the day, I'll grab one of these and a couple others that really it fares perfectly. This has enough body, enough taste, in my opinion, to handle a nice medium-bodied cab. Something that, we're not talking about $100, vintage cab or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I think I would go something a little more mild so you can enjoy the wine more than the actual pear.
Yeah.
But it's a great cigar. I love that. Thank you.
These have been, I think within the company, they've become one of the favorites for sure. I smoke these all the time. I smoked one on the drive down here from Milwaukee.
You're a fiend.
This with a cup of coffee. I love it. Yeah, this is one of those cigars you can smoke morning, noon, night. It's going to treat you well. Yeah, man, I can't get enough of these.
I'm really
awesome.
getting into the box press.
Okay.
I was never a box press person. Definitely not a heavier ring gauge person. I'm always on the Lancero side, just as I was brought up, but how I was introduced to cigars. But I'm really getting into a box press. They're nice. They're very nice. The draw is typically easier, because of the format. So I enjoy that. I can't say enough good things about that particular cigar. I think it gets overlooked, and I try to always bring that back up to the forefront.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, this is one. The beautiful thing about a box press cigar is because you're putting it in that press, you can't have as much filler tobacco in there. So because there is
You have the
less-
same amount of wrapper and binder, which are, correct me if I'm wrong, more premium leaf.
It's all going to depend.
Really?
So wrappers visually are typically going to be just a much prettier leaf.
Right.
so
Which are more
it'll have-
expensive
yeah,
because you
it'll
have less of them.
Yeah.
In a
yeah.
field, you're going to pull these leaves and you're going to be like, that doesn't go for wrapper. That might go great for binder, but that's not filler. That's
Yeah.
definitely.
But the nice thing about how that's going to be constructed is it's, in my experience, a lot less likely to have a tight draw. Again, there's
Yeah.
less filler tobacco in
Well, you
there.
can't get the shape. You can't get the shape, otherwise it's going to split.
Yeah, 100%. It's just gonna
There's been
burst
plenty.
that hole.
There's been plenty of those. I get, you light it up and the thing just craters right up the side, and you're like, oh god. But never had a bad one. I've never had a bad one of
Oh,
these.
yeah. Look, I would say anything coming out of Casa Carrillo is going to smoke beautifully.
Yeah.
Of the easily thousands of cigars I've smoked coming out of that factory, I genuinely can't recall a time where I've had a cigar that just smoked poorly.
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
Chris, you're typically more on the mild, under medium, right? Because you're just starting. What did you think? Because you smoked this already, right?
I sampled it a little bit. I had one earlier when we met the last time, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was a little bit stronger than what I would typically smoke, but it wasn't like it was too much. It was like it was.
It was not
like,
abusive.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
So you could dip your toes into that water and
Right.
be okay.
All day long.
Okay.
He comes in, whatever he's got. Yeah, let's give it a try.
Yeah, it's a nice cigar.
What do you think of? So you've been with the company for just over 2 years.
Just over a year.
Okay. What have you been out to the factory in that?
I haven't gotten to get to any of the factories that we work with. I went on a factory tour in Honduras with another brand back when I was on the retail side, which, if you get the chance, it's incredible. I mean, you learn more in 3 days than you'll learn in the rest of your time working in the industry. And you just get so much more of an appreciation for how difficult each one of these is to make.
It's incredibly difficult.
Oh yeah, it's insane. The fact that any of these are smokable is mind-boggling.
Yeah, it is.
And you get appreciation for things that you never thought about before. Like I'll never forget watching someone put the UPC barcode on the cellophane of some cigars. It looks like they were working in fast forward. I've shown Will that video. It's wild. And it's not fast forward because you see people walking at normal speeds behind. It's insane. I watch that video regularly just because I'm like, this still amazes me years later.
You can take the box, and this is another great thing for QC, right? If you purchase a box, take the cigars out, lay them out, line them all up. Look at how the bands, height-wise, and if they put a foot band on, and then the UPC on the cello, and you see it, and you're like, wow, that's done by hand. Like somebody's fingers actually had to take the sticker off the backing, line it up, and put it there. And for them to be able to crank out not just a handful of these in an hour, thousands
Maybe
a day.
you should borrow that video from him and put it in the podcast.
Oh, we could. Yeah, we could do that.
You steal your lighter.
Yeah, it's a great cigar. The Mil Diaz Maduro is like one of my favorites. This also goes well with a full-bodied wine. Very nice. But typically, I didn't enjoy this one with a Scotch, with a Lafroig or a Lagenwullen. Not for me.
That's would be a tough pairing.
Yeah, because there's quite a bit of smokiness, in the Lagenwullen, and the oiliness, and then the smokiness on the Lafroig. But an Islay whiskey, or Islay Scotch, is just, in my opinion, and opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. I don't know. Did you ever hear the ending of that saying?
No.
All right, so everyone's got one.
Oh wait, yeah.
And most of them are full of shit.
That's right.
Yeah. But a full-bodied cab or a full-bodied, any full-bodied dark red can hold up to this. Yeah. But this is definitely, for me, it's a bourbon cigar, and definitely a rye. Yeah.
Look, I'll tell you what, with a real sugar Pepsi, It's tough to beat. That is the perfect pairing.
Have you the whole Dr. Pepper thing? Have you gotten into that?
No, I have no clue what
All
you're
right, so
talking about.
I'm not into Dr. Pepper. It's just not my thing. But some of the guys came in the lounge, and I saw them drinking Dr. Peppers. And I'm like, well, that's kind of an odd soda. But for some reason, a Dr. Pepper with a cigar, medium plus, is like the bomb. And I can't explain why. It's just, I'm like, nah, come on, you guys are horseshit. This is stupid. No. And I tried it. And then one guy's like, oh, you have a diet Dr. Pepper. It's even better. And I'm like, But if they had Dr. Pepper with cane sugar in it, oh, that's got to be the bomb.
Well, that's like Boylan's and Sprecker's root beer. Both of those. I mean, I think I would go into a coma if I had that more than once every once in a while.
No.
But it's an incredible pairing. Or Pib Extra. Oh,
Well,
I
Pib.
love it.
Pib
'Cause
is
it's just full of sugar.
that's a Dr. Pepper offshoot, isn't it? That's a
Oh, I much
clone or
prefer it,
copycat.
Because, again, it's just so much more sugar. So it tastes so much better. But no,
That's something that a lot of new smokers don't understand is that the nicotine, as you start getting up into the medium plus, full, one of the first things you want to make sure that you have on hand is, access to chocolate or some sort of sugar. Like you've been to a rolling factory, and they're smoking cigars right off the floor, and they always have a little sugar packet or a series of sugar packets in their pocket, and they'll just tear open a sugar packet and throw it in their mouth. And it settles your stomach, it settles the nicotine high, it just kind of calms that out. So the whole idea of drinking a soda with a cigar is very much the same thing.
Well, nicotine attaches to glucose molecules. So that's why that feeling in your stomach and your head that you can get when maybe you've had a stronger cigar, maybe on an empty stomach, it's just your blood sugars are crashing. So you just throw some.
That's interesting.
Some
I didn't know
sugar
that.
or some honey.
Is that
under
why?
Your tongue.
Okay.
So if you just throw some sugar or honey, that's what was explained to me.
What kind of honey?
Real honey.
We're talking like bee honey,
like real honey. Yeah.
Oh, not like
crazy.
Not like
payment processing.
I was going with the other honey.
But if you just put that under your tongue, don't swallow it. Let it absorb into. It'll just absorb into your mouth. That just goes straight into your bloodstream. You'll feel better in about 15 minutes. So that's why real sugar Coke, real sugar Pepsi.
Yeah.
Those types
much
of things
better
are
than the
gonna
corn
be,
fructose.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
are going to do a lot better for you. That's one of those reasons why, sometimes I heard it all the time, like, I love smoking or drinking. When I combine them, I feel horrible in the morning. I'm like, well,
you're not doing enough of it on a routine basis. You gotta,
Well,
you gotta beat your shit in.
But it's one of those things. Both of those the next day are going to tank your blood sugars, and so you have to do it really smartly, or just power through and be fine the next morning.
Chris, what do we got? Anything to round out the episode? Got any other questions for Danny?
Where can we find you at?
Absolutely. That you can find all.
We don't want your Tinder handle.
Well, Tinder's a long story, but you can find me on Bumble and Hinge. No. But on Instagram at Danny Hennessy. Hennessy spelled just like the cognac.
So is it Hennessy or Hennessy?
Hennessy.
Or is it like the car? Hennessy like the car?
No E before the Y in Hennessy. You can find all of our events on crownedheads.com.
Yeah, because you guys do quite a few events.
Oh, yeah.
All the time.
We're
all over
around,
the country.
Constantly. We have an incredible sales team, an incredible just team in general. So you can find our events there as well as ozfamilycigars.com to see where we'll be near you, whether you're in the Midwest, Northeast, West Coast, South, we're everywhere. So come out to one of our events. We love hanging out with people.
You do. Yeah, the couple of events that I've been to where you're at, you spend a lot of time with a lot of guests and make sure everybody understands and is warm and
And then our official company Instagrams are at the Crowned Heads and at Oz Family Cigars.
All right. The Crowned Heads.
Yes.
Okay. I got it because we're we had a fight with that as well with the William Black Show, right? So on some platforms it's the William Black Show, and otherwise it's in other places we couldn't do the, and it's like pain in the ass. So on Instagram it's the Crowned Heads.
Yep.
Okay.
And at Oz Family Cigars.
Okay, perfect.
Absolutely.
All right, Chris, another question?
That's it. When are we going to do an event?
Coming soon.
Is there anything dropping this year that you can leave some hints to or talk about?
Well, we're recording this on the 24th. So a couple of days ago, we announced Mule Kick 2025, the first release since 2023 of that cigar. Completely new blend. It's going to be fantastic.
Really? Because the first Mule Kick was outstanding.
Oh, yeah.
So John figured out how to tweak it?
So this one is going to be only the second time since 2012 that we have completely modified the blend. So this year's is a true Connecticut broadleaf wrapper, Mexican San Andreas binder, all Nicaraguan fillers. I can't wait for this thing. The packaging got updated. It looks incredible.
Medium plus?
That, I haven't smoked it yet.
Okay.
So
the jury's still out?
But so that one, keep an eye out for it. Those should be hitting shelves within the next month.
Okay.
And then just keep an eye out. We're
I'll
gonna
have to beat on Kai to make sure that he keeps that on the list.
Oh yeah. And other than that, just keep an eye out. We'll be announcing some fantastic releases this year, both limited editions. I'm excited to see what we're doing at the trade show in April. So yeah, just keep an eye out on all the socials, and we'll be posting about those. Keep an eye out on the podcast page and all that, because I'm sure we'll see announcements there.
On the Instagram side, I know you guys John drops hats, limited edition hats, all the time. And much like, remember all the crap that we used to do with firearms industry and all that stuff, it was always and we carried that over a couple other projects.
That's a great idea. What do you got that you can give away to our listeners today? What do you got with you?
That, I will make sure to leave some stuff behind. I got to check to see what I have in my trunk stock right now.
Maybe we could do
a giveaway.
Like and share the podcast, and you'll be entered in to win. Yeah.
All right, so
we'll have a hat for sure.
We'll figure that out, and we'll tag you in the Instagram post, back and forth, and then we'll figure out a giveaway for that.
Absolutely.
And that's fun. That's fun. Everybody. John's hats are like epic.
Oh, I love them.
They're great.
Look, before I joined the company, if I wasn't at work, I was wearing a Crowned Heads hat. If you saw my closet right now, it's obscene. I'm constantly trying to figure out new ways to store them because I'm running out of space for them, but I love wearing them.
Now that I've got my mane back, the hats keep falling off. You can't get them too tight because the hair moves, so long. But I have my little collection. I enjoy them. They're really fun because everyone always looks at it and goes, "Oh, what is that?" Let me enlighten you.
And it's always fun. We don't repeat stuff, so even if you see a similar design, it's going to be in a different color. So that's one of those. If you see a drop on our socials about a hat coming out,
get on it
quick.
Go
and get it because they're selling out. Look, we're doing a lot more events. So hats are going out quicker, but also they sell out on the website like
same thing with your events. There's always a really neat event cigar.
Oh yeah, we've done a cigar called Blood Medicine.
That was only an event cigar, wasn't it?
Yep.
And now it's a production item, limited production.
Last year we did a run of 1,500 boxes. We did it, instead of the event exclusive Robusto size, we did it in a Toro, smoked amazing. Very difficult.
It's very different. Yeah. Very different too. The Robusto to the Toro in that was like, whoa, okay, this is really good. And not to say that the Robusto was bad. The Robusto was nice. I like a little bit more length in my cigar. I think it kind of mellows out the temperature a little bit. But then when you get down to the nub, I mean, you're always burning your lips, so you got kind of like...
But yeah, that blend is God, I love that blend.
Blue Label still got a couple boxes up on the top.
Hey, go and get them then, because those are I don't see those very often. So that's run down to Blue Label to grab those, because
we may be
that's
saving
a special
those
one.
for a rainy day. I don't know. You never know.
Yeah, you want to save them?
Yeah, we can hoard them. Yeah.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, is there anything else, Danny? We're gonna save the Pittsburgh Yinzer stuff for another episode.
Hey, sounds
because that's
good
a
to me.
rabbit hole and a shithole. That one won't be too much. That won't be any like cigars. That's just gonna be for those who've not traveled and experienced Pittsburgh for any length of time. I bring the original side of Pittsburgh. You basically come in when I leave off after a few years. So the evolution of Pittsburgh, how it's transferred and things like it's really good. I love Pittsburgh. I loved it when I was there, even when it was a hole. It was the armpit of America. It was one of those like Cleveland, Ohio. It was just one of those.
Don't ever compare us to Cleveland.
No, that's
Those
like
are
the
fighting
Wisconsin,
words in
Illinois
Pittsburgh.
thing. Yeah, those are fighting words there, baby. But it was a definite transformation, all for the good. And I still love the old Pittsburgh too. Like I really fell in love with it. It was hard for me to leave.
It's an incredible city. I am going to have to research the statute of limitations on trespassing before that.
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Stories I can tell
Don't
there.
worry. Well, Chris, you're going to have to tell us a little bit more about the trespassing laws and if they're the same statute for railroads. Because I've got a railroad story, Pittsburgh, downtown, that I think they're still looking for us. Because nobody wanted to jump in the fucking Allegheny to come get us. Oh, you didn't let that water get in you.
You want some superpowers? Jump in those rivers, man.
You ever heard about the catfish?
I've seen them. They're
Yeah,
fish aren't supposed to get that big in heavily populated areas, man. Those are some.
We're going to
nasty
save the
fish.
details of that story for part 2 when you and I sit down. But I got to tell you, it is prehistoric. It is prehistoric and quite creepy. Quite creepy. It's actually microfished. I mean, I don't think you can get it on the internet, but if you get into some of the regional microfiches, there's a couple of different servers for that. Now I'll put them in the show notes if I can find them. But we actually had to go find that in microfiche while we were there because we heard the story. And we're like, that's impossible. No way. So we had to actually go down to the Gazette and go through and everything. And we found it. And the pictures, and it's absolutely warp your mind. You're like, that is absolutely impossible. That's been doctored, but it's long before the days of Photoshop and all the BS. So that's going to come in. That's going to come in part 2. We got it. We have to do that. That
Hey,
one's fun.
sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's a Yinzer episode.
I'll
That'll
probably end up just crying about the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Well, you
if
can-
we're honest here.
You can wear a balaclava and we'll put a voice changer on there in case the statute of limitations are still wrong. But you'll have to change your glasses though. That's
Yeah,
kind of
they'll
a
have to
trademark
find me.
Danny thing. Awesome. Well, I think we're pretty much wrapped up, right?
Hey, hey, thank you for having me. It's been a blast.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Oh,
It was
yeah.
cool. Thanks for making the trip down.
Absolutely.
All right. Till the next time, guys.
Thank you for tuning into The William Black Show. If you're enjoying the insights and conversations, we'd love to make it easier for you to never miss an episode. Take a quick second, crush the subscribe button.
Crush
It's
it.
completely free and ensures you'll get
Crush
fresh
it.
content delivered straight to your feed.
I forgot my pick.
If you enjoyed
so I'm
today's
like,
episode,
my fingers are
give us a
getting a little
like
warm.
or a 5-star rating. This signals the algorithm to suggest us to other curious
Pittsburgh
minds.
Marks just tell me you're a real
You can
cigar
find the
smoker.
rest of our content on the
Kinda like the old menthol cigarettes,
on
you know,
YouTube,
little
Instagram,
burn, the old tan
and
mark
X.
there.
Thanks. Your support means the world to us.
Thanks again, Danny. Chris, as always, catch us on the next episode in the next couple weeks. I'll see you again soon. Thanks again. And that is a wrap.